So here's a crazy project I'm working on. Years ago, we bought some skillets and stuff from a restaurant supply house, and they're made by, you can't see this, Thermalloy. They're just incredible. They're really spectacular, nice and heavy. They've got a really nice curve on the inside. Just so many things are right about this skillet. And they have this beautiful heavy handle. Now, the reason the handle's not on here, I'll tell you in a sec. But, so the handle was on here. But the trouble is that, Andy and I sometimes forget stuff on the stove. And we totally smoked this thing. I mean, we smoked it so bad. And it was warped. And I was flattening out the bottom by putting it on the bench and whacking it with a big rubber mallet. And I whacked it too hard. I ended up wrinkling it. I don't know if you can see. I see a little wrinkle right there. My favorite 12-inch skillet I ruined. Anyway, so this guy gets sidelined, okay? And I searched the world over and finally find that Emeril, there we go, Emeril is a sort of a down market brand of, made by, I should say, All-Clad, which is the premium skillets. So I searched around and I found this Emeril 12-inch and the 10-inch for sale up in Bothell, Washington for $20. Now, I'm in Boring, Oregon. Bothell is a 3-hour drive, but it was 7 minutes. 7 minutes from my very good friend's house. She scampered over and bought those for me and mailed this to me. Anyway, and then she was so maniac. She said, "Yeah, forget the cost," and because I told her keep the 10-inch skillet, so she got the 10-inch Emeril. I got the 12-inch, and she just said, "Forget about the cost." I was so happy. Anyway, so the thing is, the Emeril handle, you can see, is very, very thin compared to the Thermalloy. Thermalloy's got, now this is actually it's a hollow handle, but it's got a lot better grip, particularly for somebody like my wife who has small hands and not really strong. This is just kind of a pain. It's like, why do they have this? You're supposed to put your thumb there or something. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it. These handles are the easiest to hold on to because they're hollow. They stay a little cooler. They're really nice. They're just spectacular, okay? So what I did was I got this Emeril and I realized I hate this handle. The first thing my wife did, she picked it up and said, "Oh, I hate that handle." I was like, "Well, say something nice about the skillet." She said, "Okay, it's polished." I said, "Well, I polished it, but because I polished my skillets to make them easier to use." Anyway, this Emeril handle, I got to get rid of that thing. So I came out in the shop and I cut the rivets off. You can see on the outside, they're really gnarled, that thing, getting those rivets out of there. So then I have these holes, and they don't line up with the ones from the Thermalloy because I want to put the Thermalloy handle in there. So I had to put these rivets in, and the way I did that is I got these. I'm such a maniac collector. Like, I've got bags of these rivets, and it turns out it looks like these things are a lightly magnetic stainless steel because they just barely grab onto a magnet. They just barely hold on to that thing. So I believe that's magnetic stain, but this looks like it's galvanized. It doesn't make any difference because we wash these things so often, they're never going to rust. So anyway, I got these rivets, okay? And, I dropped it. Anyway, I've got these rivets, got a lot of them. And so I got the ones I like. And what I did was I ground the head down, put it in a drill, hand drill, and against the belt sander, and then on the other sander a little finer, and then on some Scotch-Brite to kind of smooth it out. Of course, it gets the crap beat out of the head when I put it in. And the way I put it in is over here. I've got this hunk of metal, kind of lightly polished. It's like 3/4 by 1.5 or 1.25 inches. Anyway, have this in my big monster vise on my bench so I can beat the crap out of it and it doesn't bounce around. And this guy, I'm now going to mount over here because I filled those holes with the rivets. Oh, and I'll show you what a nice job I did. Let me get this guy out of the way. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Actually, the one on the left there is kind of ugly. I'd like to make it more round, but I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, so now I'm going to rivet this guy on over here. And of course, I want to make sure I've got it kind of squared up to those other ones. Oh, the other thing I really didn't like about this emerald thing is that the rivets for the handle were huge on the inside. So when you took a spatula and ran around, it went ka-donk, ka-donk, ka-donk. It's a mess. I like them really low angle, low height like these guys. And I'm going to grind these down probably even a little bit more. And the same thing over on this handle. I might play with countersinking these guys on the handle so I can then what's called coin, because in sheet metal you can't really countersink with a bit. You have to drill and then use just a point, like a center punch in a hole, and it gives it what's called a coining, just kind of a recess that's tapered like a countersink would be, but that would then fit into the countersunk holes on the handle. So then when I do the rivet, I would back grind the, come on, focus shoot, I'd back grind the underside of the head so it had that same kind of angle, so it would kind of countersink, come on, focus, so it would kind of countersink into the, can I make this thing focus? There we go, that might be better, yeah. So I can get it to countersink into this, making it even more flush. I really like flush ones, because I use rubber scrapers a lot, like making omelets and stuff, or scrambled eggs even. Whoosh, scoop around, and I hate to have it go. Anyway, so I'll improve that. So now I'm going to mount this handle on here, and I'll show you how I do that here. Well, I don't think I'm going to countersink. That's too sketchy. I don't want to mess with this and give it a test and screw everything up. So I'm just going to do it flat. Yeah, let's give it a go here. So to get a line across the center, I'm using the center finder head. This is an old hardened Tumico head, Tumico, that I got when I was in high school, which is now, what, I'm 61 now, and I was 18, so if I was 21, that'd be 43 years ago. 42, 43 years ago. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I'll make sure that this edge here, which is on the center line, is right between those two rivets. I'll draw a line over here, bink, with my fancy Sharpie, and then I'll hold this guy up in place, and I'll mark those 3 holes, and then I can drill them, then I can rivet them. It'll be so cool. Okay, so I've got it all marked now. I've got my 3 points, bink, bink, bink. Got my drill, the right size bit. Now check this out. I love this bench vise. This thing is so big. I've got these pieces of wood that just drop in here. They just set in. And so I've got this big metal vise, but I've got these wood jaws so I can hold this. Yeah, it's solid. I love it. So I want to make sure I don't go drifting off with my drill bit. I'll make a mess. So I'm using a Dremel with a diamond tip, a little ball. And what I'm going to do is mark these, or sort of center punch them. Yeah, there we go. So now when I drill it, I've got a good starting point, and I'm not going to drift all over. Come on, pause. Stop it. I took my glove off. So here's the shaping of the rivet. Come on, pause. Gee, willikers. Yeah, that was a little finer grit. And lastly on the Scotch-Brite. Yeah, quite good. So here's my anvil in place. I'll put this on here. And I determined that I can hand rivet just with a ball peen hammer here. If it's about 0.100 above this surface of the handle. So I'll cut it off with my cutoff disc, and I'll measure it with calipers a few times until I get that dialed into about 100, and then I can probably just hammer that bugger in place. Let's see how it works. Here it goes. Let's see how it works. So that goes on there first. That guy drops over. My handle goes on, hopefully not hitting my camera. Yeah, it's hitting my camera. Let me back you up a little bit. There we go. See if I can turn it a bit, get you a little better centered up. Maybe even angle this up a little. Oh, there we go. That's kind of happy. Okay. So is that good on the stake? Yeah. Let's get my hammer going here. The challenge holding it with my thumb so close. I don't want to hit my thumb. Okay. I'm drifting off the anvil there. Let's get back lined up. My handle's kind of turned, but that's okay because it's just one. Get that kind of lined up. There we go. Ah, good. Rivet's up set enough it won't fall out. See if I can back my thumb up a little more. There we go. Oh, baby. Check it out. Look at that. Oh, baby. Score. Actually, you can see the rivet is not quite sitting flat over on this far side. That's okay, because once I get the others in place, then I can come back and work on the inside with the hammer a bit and get a nice seal, so it's just gorgeous. Yes! Okay, I've got all three in. I've hammered them flat, even rounded them a little bit around the edge. I could use a little bit more there. Actually, that guy could too. A little bit more Coolidge, but look at that. Yippery! Now just polish, and away we go. Okay, so to detail all these guys out, I'm going to use a little flap wheel and maybe some Scotch-Brite and maybe even rough sandpaper. Not sure, but let's see how it all works here. Oh, baby. Look at that. Those are gorgeous. Ow, it's kind of warm now. The Scotch-Brite really warms things up. Oh, yeah, and on the back of the handle. Oh, gorgeous. And the Scotch-Brite gets rid of any of those little sharp edges that are kind of nasty. So that's just, ready to go. Okay, so now I have an emerald pan, 12-inch stainless steel with a thermalloy handle, which fits beautifully and is very sturdy. Just got to clean up a little bit of the marks, take it in, wash it up, put that bugger to use. Score!